Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2, and welcome to GGG Live. We have a huge amount of stuff to share today, so it's going to be a good one. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim the Red Queen's font hideout decoration by following the instructions below. Okay, so with that out of the way, time to roll the trailer for Path of Exile 2, Return of the Ancients.
Cinéma.
Those in darkness. Once lay dormant.
On dirait Harbinger. On dirait Harbinger. Frisson! Frisson! Nah!
We who came before rise again. Behold, the first edict.
Damn! Mais c'est carrément une zone entière. Yo, des nouveaux spells! Wow! Wow! Non, alors le boss, je vais me branler. Ritual for Todd Mage Blood, je l'ai vu, je l'ai vu. Naval is back. Naval is back. Crafting League. Oh la brèche. Oh maman. Oh maman. Je vous avais dit que PE2 et PE1 ça allait être le même jeu ou pas? C'est une question de temps. Nouvelle endgame. Delirium Rework. Delirium Rework. J'avais call. Y'a tout hein, y'a tout hein. Des nouveaux boss Delirium. C'est qui lui? C'était un boss Delirium! Runes en Valdur. C'était des runes. C'était expédition. J'avais raison. Chat, ils sont en train de remettre tous les boss. Ils sont en train de remettre tout le contenu bien. Explore l'océan. Cinéma. C'est expédition. C'était sûr. Master of the Atlas.
Continue the search. See what you can find.
Oh! Nah. Atlas Abyss. 15 nouveaux boss. Mais il y a combien de milliards de contenus? Oh! Wow! Encore du craft! Recombinator! Attends, mais le boss fight pour lui? Aura. Non, les zones, les boss. Oh, sa mère. Oh, la dose de contenu. Je suis choc-barre. PE2 va surpasser PE1. C'est pas le but. Ils vont mixer les... Ils vont mettre les deux jeux ensemble. Depuis le début, depuis la release de PE2, je l'ai dit. C'est certain, ils vont mettre les deux jeux ensemble.
There's just so much going on in Return of the Ancients, it's hard for even us to keep track of it all. Now, we promised that this one was going to revamp the in-game, and I'm very excited to talk about it.
400 notes
we've got
d'Atlasry.
to talk about the League. So to do that, I'm going to hand things over to Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile.
I love you.
Now, for those of you who are new to Path of Exile, each time we release an update,
je me lève pour le
we
GOAT.
also release a
Je me
new
lève.
league.
Je me lève pour le GOAT.
Not only do we have a new economy, but we also introduce new content through the campaign, which gives you a fresh play experience right from the start of the game, as well as new mechanics, storylines, and in-game bosses.
Ah, ils vont fusionner. À terme, le but c'est de fusionner PE1 et 2.
You will encounter a man being attacked by the undead in Clearfell. After saving him, he introduces himself as Pharaoh, a young blacksmith trying to bring back the ancient art of Ezemite runesmithing. He has been collating his discoveries in a tome and is keen to show you how runesmithing works. By inscribing symbols on these ancient Ezemite remnants, you can create all manner of old magics. Unfortunately, on doing so, the corpses of the nearby undead are revived and infused with some of the latent
Oh! Ah, ça c'est stylé! Une mécanique de craft à la bestiarie, mais genre pas chiante.
After defeating these monsters, Pharaoh realizes that runesmithing is a dangerous business, and he is going to need the help of someone a little more martially inclined to discover these secrets.
Mais non, c'est pas du crafting en fait,
He
c'est juste
lends
la
to his
reward.
tome and asks that you note down anything you discover when you
Mais c'est
return.
ultimatum en fait, qu'est-ce que je raconte?
In each area in the Runes of Aldur League, you will find a remnant, and as you approach it, you will notice that some symbols are already present, and some are waiting for you to fill them in.
Ah.
Depending on which symbols are already present, you will have different options for which items you can create using this magic.
Il y a une combinaison mirror, tu
For
penses?
example, if you combine Tempest and Lightning, you can create an Orb of Augmentation.
Ouais. J'ai capté.
But be careful. The symbols used to craft the items also empower the monsters around the remnant, who will be revived as undead to fight again with different properties depending on what runes you used. So, if you use a fire rune in your recipe, the monsters will be empowered with fire.
Ouais.
Or if you use a moon rune, lunar beams will rain down as you fight the monsters.
Ah oui, comme le boss Lunaris quoi. Ouais, voilà. Ah non, comme le boss de l'acteur en fait. 20 Verisium? Comment ça Verisium?
After the fight, break the remnant to receive the item you crafted. As you get higher level, you will start to find remnants with more slots for more runes, allowing you to craft rarer items. As the number of slots increases though, more waves of monsters will be added.
Ah, boring, c'est du loot de
With
ce que je
each
comprends.
wave being empowered
Pas
by
forcément,
more
ça peut être du
and more
juicing.
of the runes.
Regarde le nombre de rares que ça spawn. Ça peut être du juicing.
And this can get pretty dicey, because some of the runes can have powerful effects.
Faut voir
Like
l'ultimate game,
the
mais
Oath rune, which will cause one monster to be nominated as a leader,
ils ont pas montré le
spawning
résultat.
waves of minions. The leader itself will be invincible, but killing its minions will deal damage to it.
Ah. Mais du coup, il drop plus de trucs ou... Non mais le nombre de mobs rares, je pense vraiment qu'il y a moyen de jouer ça. Je pense vraiment qu'il y a beaucoup de mobs rares. Greater Chaos Orb garantie.
Some recipes can get pretty large, requiring 6, 7, or even 8 runes.
Ah, gros combat.
But don't worry, you won't have to remember them. Pharaoh's runecrafting book will record all the options, allowing you to simply pick which one you want to craft, given the existing runes that are already on the remnant. To expand your knowledge and to allow you to craft more
Évidemment,
items,
évidemment.
Pharaoh has asked that you keep an eye out for signs of runic magic around Rayclast.
Ah,
He
tu
wants
dois
to
débloquer les
document
runes.
anything you find in order to rediscover the secrets of Ezemite runesmiths of old.
Ok.
The first of these can be found in Ogham, and reveals to you an ancient secret, buried
Ouais,
deep
par contre,
underground.
les visuels de PE2 sont magnifiques, y'a rien à dire.
The runic magic which the Ezemites
non,
believe
c'est
to be
magnifique.
their own is actually of Kalguran origin.
Ah non, c'est trop beau, le jeu est vraiment trop beau.
Thousands of years ago, the Kalgurans came to Rayclast to find sources of Verisium, a metal on which engraved runes allow control over reality. Pharaoh is determined to learn these ancient ways and gain mastery over them. If you can bring him more Verisium, he'll be able to use it to smith power into any armor, granting you runic ward, the power harnessed by the Kalgurans since ancient times. Runic ward is a new resource that protects you from death. Should you run out of life, your runic ward will kick in, sustaining your body until your life can return. It effectively acts as an extra life pool. Of course, should you take enough damage to run out of that, you will still die. Every single piece of armor in the game can be upgraded this way. Even uniques. Some are just a strict upgrade, giving runic ward with no downside.
Bah ouais.
Others are more extreme, sacrificing defenses to get a much larger amount of runic ward.
Mais c'est inintéressant parce
There are
que...
even some that add new modifiers to uniques entirely.
C'est quoi
making them
l'intérêt
much more
de
viable
rajouter
for
du runic
high-level
ward?
play.
T'as pas besoin, il te faut
The
un point.
Kalgurans use runic ward for more than just a defense. It can also be used to power many other magics. Instead of using gems created from corruption, the Kalgurans used runes of power and fueled them with runic
Voilà
ward.
le bémol, voilà le bémol.
Many of the options available from remnant crafting are new types of Kalguran skills that exclusively spend runic ward to wreak havoc.
Voilà,
An
voilà le
example
bémol.
is Triskelion Cascade. Using it will cause your next spell to be triggered multiple times in a Triskelion pattern. You can use it with skills like Ice Nova that you cast from yourself, or with something you target at a distance, like Comet. There are also skills to modify existing effects using runic
Je
magic,
réfléchis.
like
À quel-
Frost
à quel-
Flame Nova.
ouais.
Using this skill on a pack of burning enemies will transform the Ignite into Frostfire, both burning them and building up freeze at the same time.
Je
You
réfléchis
have basic
aux
buffs like
utilisations.
Hollow
mais-
Shell that guards all nearby allies, to more complicated mechanics like the Mark of Repulsion that creates a mark capable of pushing away all nearby enemies. Instead of spending mana, like skill gems do, all these skills cost runic ward, and
Après, ça,
unlike
c'est fort.
gems, they don't have a color.
Par contre, ils ont des
This
gros
means that
CD.
they
Hein.
don't
J'ai vu,
care
ils ont des
about
gros CD.
attribute requirements, or what kind of weapon you use.
C'est un ulti en fait.
These skills are designed to be used on any class, and so often
le
interact with
principe d'ulti, en
mechanics that
fait.
apply across many characters.
Si ça marche sur les
By
castones.
combining different
Oh, mais il y a un
runes
gros
together,
CD. Il y a
the
vraiment un très gros
Kalgurans were
CD.
able to
Et c'est que un
support their
spell.
runic abilities, and you can as well. There is also a set of runic supports that can be combined with regular skill gems in interesting ways. Concussive Runes allows you to add these concussive shockwaves to any skill that
Ok,
stuns.
j'ai vu un truc qui est pas mal en ward stacking. Il y a un monde où le ward stacking ça peut être
While
fort, mais.
Runic Infusion lets you spend
Ouais,
ward
celui-là.
to directly empower the damage on any skill. Now, there are other quests during the campaign too that unlock even more interesting crafting methods. Buried deep in the jungle in Act 3, you can find the Mystic Refuge,
Ok.
containing even more secrets for Pharaoh to learn from. Using this knowledge, he gains the ability to reforge unique weapons. With this technique, many low-level unique weapons can be upgraded to do significantly more damage. Now, we've been able to take a bunch of uniques that had interesting modifiers, but were not in-game viable, and give them a bit of a boost to get there. And it's not just low-level uniques. All Kalguran
Je m'en bats les
uniques are
bonus,
able
là.
to be runeforged this way too, and they can do some pretty
C'est
interesting
faible, non?
things. Like Searle's Grit,
Ah
a
non, ça
new
les change,
unique,
ok, ça les change.
which when runeforged can get one of several different outcomes.
Ah,
Now,
ok.
there is still
En gros,
so
c'est
much more
le.
that you can craft with remnants.
C'est la nouvelle.
There are also 100
c'est
new
l'arbre
runes,
chat, c'est
as
l'arbre
well as
bridge.
many other new crafting currencies. This is the runes of Eldur after all, and some of these runes have quite powerful effects. For example, this elemental conversion rune will convert all the existing mods on a non-unique weapon from one element to
Non, alors
another.
ça, complètement con.
Using
Complètement
it,
con.
you could combine a weapon with
Complètement
all
con.
three elemental damage
Complètement.
mods
Là, bah
into
voilà.
a single element,
Rune à
making a
mid-divide.
weapon with massive amounts
Rune à
of cold
mid-divide.
damage.
Bah non,
There
mais
is
c'est...
also a rune that lets you destroy your rune sockets to turn them into a dual socket on your item.
Encore une
And
fois,
there
genre...
are even crafting meta runes that can unlock new types of mods when used with regular crafting. For example, this rune of chronomancy will
quoi,
unlock a
chronomancy?
set of time-related mods to be crafted on your boots. Once
Time-related
placed
mods.
inside, use regular crafting orbs to attempt to get new mods like cooldown speed or increased skill effectuation.
Non, alors ça,
You can
alors ça...
also create a new type of currency
les
called
loops,
alloys.
les loops sont de retour, c'est ridicule.
Using regular metals alloyed with verisium,
Ils savent
new
très-
modifiers
Ah,
not normally available can be directly crafted onto your
Ils
items.
savent très bien à quel point la CDR c'est broken, genre pourquoi ils font ça?
Using imbued alloy could improve your ailment damage, for example. There are honestly so many options here
Ils savent
that
très bien,
unlock
genre.
all sorts of crazy crafting projects.
Ah mais vas-y.
So I think people will be experimenting with these for a long time. Once you get to King's March in Act 4, Pharaoh finally
Ah, le
meets
power
Danik,
creep est indécent pour
a
le coup.
real Kalguran runesmith.
Ils ont dû faire des boss
And riddled
monstrueux.
with
Ouais.
excitement, he wants to learn how to merge modern Kalguran techniques with the ancient knowledge that he has found. From
Après,
here
cinéma.
on, Pharaoh joins in the
En soi, c'est
Kalguran
très stylé, ça
expeditions
push les
that
builds.
Danik has been leading.
C'est très bonne
With
chose.
the ancient knowledge that Pharaoh brings to the table, the Kalguran expeditions that Danik has been going on will change significantly. For those of you who haven't played it, the Expedition League mechanic involves carefully placing explosives,
On savait.
uncovering the buried dead, and recovering verisium from them.
Le
By
jeu est
choosing where to
magnifique.
place
J'arrive
the
pas à passer
explosives,
outre, chat. Hein.
you
Le
can
jeu est
choose
beau.
which kind of challenges
Vivement
you'd
qu'il
like
soit
to
bien.
face, or rewards you would like to claim. But unlike before, expeditions now contain the remnants from Runes of Eldur, allowing you to do some specific crafts along the way using the new League crafting mechanic. One very important difference from the simple remnant encounters, though, is that the empowerments that the remnants grant apply to every monster down the explosive line for the rest of the encounter, stacking together. This can lead to some pretty extreme situations. If you stack too many remnants, you might be in for a fight beyond your abilities, but the rewards can be very worth it.
Va falloir
Each mod on the
un
monster is
mappeur.
improving the items that they
Cette
can
saison,
drop.
faut un gros mappeur. Hein. Et t'as même pas besoin d'être tanky, t'as la ward.
Once you get to the end game, you will find that the Atlas has changed substantially.
Faut un gros mappeur
To the
cette saison, il y a trop de farm.
you will now find the coastline of Rayclast, with the ocean beyond.
Ah, il y a un port
King's
et tout.
March has not fared well after the
Oh
cataclysm,
non.
and lays in ruins. Rog's shop has been destroyed, but he is much
Yes.
more concerned about his wife,
Pas de King's March à
Gwennen.
opti.
He would
Let's go.
like to launch an expedition deep into the ocean to find her. And this begins a new major mechanic for expedition, exploring the ocean. Previously,
stylé, en vrai.
a logbook was a single encounter. Now, using a logbook, you can send ships to explore an area of the ocean to the southeast,
Ça, c'est
uncovering a
stylé.
range of islands
Oh, ça,
to
j'aime
begin
bien.
your search for Gwennen.
Ouh.
You can hop from island to island, doing many new encounters. There are islands with expeditions, grand expeditions,
Hein? Comment ça, grande expédition?
new bosses, and all sorts of other unique things to find.
On aurait dit Véritania.
Eventually, you will find the island that Gwennen has been holed up on. It turns out that she has found the tomb of an ancient Kalguran, Medved. While she appreciates you coming to her rescue, she is still keen to blow open the doors of the vault and take whatever you
Terrifiant.
can find inside.
Terrifiant.
It's just a shame that Medved isn't as dead as you previously assumed.
Oh! Ah bah c'est le boss PE1.
Now, after you have defeated Medved, you will find another logbook.
6 millions
And
d'HP,
this
ça va.
time, you can use it to choose which direction you want to explore. The ocean is vast and contains a huge number of new islands to find. With each logbook, you can explore one sector and you can go as deep as you like.
Chat, c'est une dinguerie parce que ça veut dire que les maps, ça
There
va
are
être des maps
all sorts
expéditions
of interesting
seulement.
objects to uncover and dungeons to explore.
Et ça, c'est une folie. en
Many
vrai.
of the islands have
Première
expeditions
méca,
with
chat.
totally new mechanics.
Première méca que tu peux full focus.
So, for
hein.
example,
Dinguerie.
here is a volcanic island with voltaxic sulfite. Blowing up the sulfite will unleash extra waves of enemies. But there is also this wall with a suspicious light coming from behind it. On blowing it open, a giant ogre comes out, and he is determined to eat as much sulfite as possible. The more sulfite mounds that you have blown up, the more empowered and the more rewarding he will become.
Ah putain, mais Elvis not back. C'est fight, c'est fight, c'est très stylé. C'est très stylé, c'est ok, c'est ok. C'est ok, c'est très stylé.
Free trapped wisps. Blow open root doors.
Ah non mais expédition a l'air
even raise
sensationnelle.
ancient precursor technology. And of course, more bosses. There are more and further vaults
Chat,
to
XP a l'air
blow.
dingue,
And
XP a
one
l'air
of them in
dingue.
particular is pretty important. The Tomb of Uhtred, the Star Drinker.
Lui par contre je connais pas. Hein. Oula. Y'a un monde où c'est lui qui nous donne les runes de fou. Hein. Il vient dans c'est quoi là?
Uhtred was responsible for calling down the meteors of Verisium, which the Kalgurans used to power their ancient magic. And upon defeating him, he calls down a truly gigantic one into the ocean nearby.
Non mais par contre c'est cinéma, c'est
On
du pur
visiting
cinéma,
it,
c'est
you
choqué.
find that it is shrouded by a strange energy emanating from the Verisium core of the meteor within.
Mais ça
There
s'arrête
is
quand?
something growing in there, and it can't be anything good.
Il y a
In
combien de
order to gain
milliards de
entry,
mécaniques?
Danik suggests
Y a
that the
encore un
Crystallian
boss?
Flame, an ancient Kalguran artifact that can absorb and cancel the effects of Verisium magic, could be used to enter. But to find it, you will need to locate the Tomb of Olroth, leader of the Knights of the Sun.
Mais il y a combien de boss?
Defeat him and gain access to whatever eldritch nightmare is growing inside.
Il y a un
Now,
Eldritch.
we're not going to spoil the boss.
Première
but one thing you
intégration
should know
Eldritch
is that the
dans
Verisium
PE2,
that
non?
makes up the core of the meteor is of a quality that has not been available for millennia.
Non, c'est tellement stylé, mec!
Bringing this to Pharaoh and Danig should allow them to forge some objects of power, the creation of which has been lost to time. So that's the League, and there is a lot going on. To sum all that up, there is a new encounter with over 30 new monster types and over 30 new rune modifiers to enhance them. You can create more than 100 new runes to craft your gear, as well as dozens of other new currency items. And
Je viens de voir des
there are
lignes de
new
dégénérés,
quests
c'est moi là.
added to the campaign to unlock
Yo,
even
wisdom.
more new crafting options. Rune forging armors, upgrading uniques, dozens of new Kalguran skills and supports, tons of new islands to discover by exploring the ocean, 5 new bosses, including a new pinnacle boss, and a bunch of new uniques to top it off. But
Cinéma.
there is still a ton more to come. It's time to talk about the massive changes to the endgame. But for that,
Oh,
I'll
c'était
hand
même
it
pas le
back to
game.
Jonathan.
Oh, c'était
Now,
même
as
pas-
Mark hinted at before, the in-game atlas is very
Chat,
different now.
je viens
and
de me
the Ocean
souvenir
of the
de quel
South is the least of
quel
the
spell tu
changes.
peux
The
dédoubler.
entire area around your starting
Les
location
spells
is now teeming with
Retaliate.
new questlines and things to discover.
Je sais pas si vous voyez ce que c'est.
Will you investigate the strange forest to the west?
Imaginez un
cracks in
triple
the earth to the
Retaliate
east?
avec le multiplier à
Perhaps visit the
3000%.
ruins of a
genre.
vile city in the north. The atlas now has fixed points of interest at specific locations, giving you
Okay.
specific objectives that are easy to find. Like before though, no matter which objective you choose, going to towers to see what's out there is always a good idea. The first time you do that though, something
J'avais
new
dit, mais
happens. The earth shakes, and a gigantic fortress rises from the earth,
Hein?
a remnant of the ancient precursor civilization.
Ceux qui avaient dit les towers avaient raison du coup. Il avait raison, c'était les towers.
The cataclysm of the beast has caused an ancient protocol to be invoked. Should corruption ever take hold to this degree, the world must be scoured and purged of corruption. You will need to make your way into the fortress and activate the gates.
Ah non,
Gain the
c'est
keys
ok,
to
c'est
reach
autre
these
chose,
ancient
non, mais
precursor weapons
des armes de précurseurs.
and disarm them. But this will be no easy task. The fortress has many areas to explore and many new things to find.
Oula.
You will power up ancient machines, fight new and deadly foes,
Non,
discover many new
ils sont trop
areas,
forts. Ils sont trop forts en boss. Hein. Ils sont vraiment devenus trop forts
and
en boss.
uncover
Hein.
some dark secrets. Now, the Fortress is the first of the new full in-game
C'est Arbiter?
storylines that
Non,
we're adding
ça
in
ressemblait pas au
050,
truc
and there's a
Arbiter.
lot going on with it. But not only that, it has some pretty cool
Tu
new
penses que c'est un
mechanics
rework
as well.
entier?
The areas inside the fortress are special. Many of them have new mechanics or rewards that they grant. Like this one, where all the rares are contained in essence crystals.
Non mais
Or this one,
je
which
vais me
replaces
je vais me
all monster
branler,
packs in
je
the
vais
area
me
with strong
branler, en fait.
boxes. Or this one, which spawns in as Mary Spirit that always moves on from a rare after you kill it, allowing you to chase it through the entire map.
En haut à droite, ça met le contenu que t'as fait que t'as fini au poste. C'est
Now,
très stylé.
just like the normal areas of the Atlas, you'll need to fight the map boss of each area to complete the map. But unlike a normal map, the ones in the
Voilà,
fortress
espèce de
each
zinzin.
contain
Non.
precursor nodes after the boss, and activating these nodes will give you points for the new and improved Atlas passive tree. Now,
Non,
we
par
had an
contre,
Atlas
le nouveau
passive tree
Atlas-
before, but it was one of the areas of the endgame that just wasn't up to scratch. The Atlas tree now works quite a lot differently. We have significantly upgraded the kind of mechanics that you can find on the Atlas tree.
Possess Strongbox.
Like this one, that gives a chance to make rogue exiles you fight retreat from combat and move to an adjacent map. Before you fight them again, they'll upgrade their gear and come back with a grudge this time.
Ah, c'est stylé ça en vrai.
There are also a lot of nodes that combine mechanics together in new ways, like this one, which lets Asmeri spirits possess strongboxes. All the regular monsters that come out of them are touched by the spirit, and the rares are all possessed, giving you some incredible loot potential.
Ouais mais chat, ils ont buff les spirits parce que c'était vraiment éclaté hein. Genre je crois pas avoir fait, sur toutes les saisons que j'ai joué, je l'ai jamais fait, la méca des esprits. Je déteste
You
les
get
spirits, on
points
est
from
d'accord,
every
c'est
single
éclaté
area
genre.
you complete in the fortress.
Ah
And
ouais, non,
unlike
mais là,
before,
le contenu,
that means you can allocate the entire Atlas tree. Yes, this whole tree can be yours. This change is pretty important, since it allows us to be able to create many types of bonuses that we wouldn't have been able to create before.
Alors ça,
Like
c'est
this
cinéma.
one, which
Mais je
gives a
trouve que
chance
ça...
for cities to be invaded by another faction,
Je trouve que ça
and can
personnalise
even
moins,
allow
c'est
it
ça
to
le problème.
contain 2 faction leaders, allowing you to get 2 crisis fragments. If we'd done this kind of thing in the old tree, we would have wanted to spec into it before running a city map, then unspec out of it before running anything else. With full allocation, we can have cool bonuses like these. Now, obviously, we still want to make sure that you have choices that define your in-game Atlas build. So many nodes in the Atlas tree are now multi-choice. Everyone will get the node, but which bonus you choose to use is up to you. Do you want your powerful boss maps to contain more essences, summoning circles,
Non mais
or rogue
je suis
exiles?
choqué. Je suis choqué.
But there's
Je
also
suis
nodes that
choqué
contain
du
more
contenu.
unusual things.
Je suis choqué.
So, for example, on this node you can choose. Do you want to give a chance for shrines to instead be given to the map boss in the area, making them more challenging but dropping special loot? Or would you rather give a chance to be given a shrine buff before entering boss arenas, making for an easier fight?
Le content est astronomique.
Now, I could probably nerd out about cool stuff in the tree all day, but we should probably get back to the fortress. Now, one of the really important things we
it's the
wanted to
boss.
do was make it so that all the boss fights in the endgame are now accessible with a quest line. That means that to fight the Arbiter of Ash for the first time, you don't need to get lucky by
t'as
finding
pas besoin-
keys.
voilà,
They will be
voilà.
in fixed locations
C'est
and
bien
there's a
ça.
quest to get them.
Très bonne chose.
But the Arbiter of Ash is no longer the pinnacle of Path of Exile 2. For that, you'll need to travel into the very center of the fortress.
Waouh.
An
il
incredible challenge awaits you, should you choose to go there.
Ouais, donc il y a bien un nouveau boss, c'est bien ce que je disais.
After the storyline, you
What?
still unlock keys for pinnacle bosses in the usual way, exploring the world and finding the keys required to get to them. But we have added a lot more interesting things to find out there as well. There are now all sorts of mechanics that can spawn on maps in the wilderness. For example, some maps might spawn as a rogue exile hunting ground, containing multiple rogue exiles who are there to hunt rare beasts. You might come upon them in the
Eh,
middle of a
Soutiens,
fight
il avait
and be
raison,
able
hein.
to
Ils
take
arrêtent
out
pas de nous
both of
mettre
them.
que des builds mêlés, mais personne n'a envie de jouer
Or a
mêlé.
map
Hein.
of champions that makes all the natural inhabitants of the area into magic monsters.
Bon alors ça c'est une dinguerie.
Or this one that causes all shrines in the area to release as merry spirits when used.
Il a la shrine de Magic Find, c'est ça?
Once you have explored and found your keys, you can return to fight the pinnacle in the fortress again. But this version of him will be harder. And not only that, you will have new unique rewards as well. Each time you
Il y a des
fight
versions
them,
Uber,
you
du
get the
coup.
ability to activate one section of the fortress, and any maps that you didn't finish there will be automatically completed, giving you all the Atlas points. So if you're the type of player who doesn't want to explore the fortress, and instead just race out into the infinite Atlas, you still have a way to get all those points. So that's the
Incroyable.
origins
Merci.
of Divinity storyline.
Merci.
It's a huge amount
Incroyable.
of new content with a ton of new areas, 5 new bosses, including a pinnacle,
On n'est pas obligé de
with a
faire tout,
bunch of new unique
tout le
items.
contenu in-game.
But not only that,
Le
it also
boss est
completely
tellement
revamps the Atlas tree and includes a ton of new map mechanics that you can find both inside and outside the fortress. But this is just one of the new storylines. So let's talk about the next one now, Masters of the Atlas. Now earlier we talked about how the multi-choice nodes in the tree allow you to still have an in-game Atlas build, but we didn't think that was quite enough. You have an Ascendancy class for your passive tree. Why not an Ascendancy class for your Atlas tree? Well, that's where the Masters of the Atlas come in. Throughout Rayclast are many opportunities for those with the skills to find them.
Okay,
Atlas Masters are willing to train you in these skills if you're able to help them in return. One such master is Jado, a member of the Order of the Jinn, an organization that secures powerful artifacts to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands. Jado will send you on missions to investigate strange occurrences on the Atlas and recover the artifacts causing them. And for each one you recover, he will gain more trust in you and teach you more ways of the Order of the Jinn. At level 1, you could choose to massively increase the chance for rare and unique chests, or make it so that all map bosses drop an additional unique item,
Ouais, ok, complètement broken. Obligatoire.
or make corrupted waystones have an additional modifier,
Ok, complètement broken, obligatoire.
but at the cost of making them send you to a totally unknown location.
C'est pas grave, c'est plus une ligne, c'est complètement broken. C'est
Each
Scarab of
mission
Risk,
you
c'est le
complete for
Scarab of
Jado
Risk.
will unlock another row of abilities, and give you another point to allocate, letting you choose how you want to specialize.
Une folie.
But there are other masters too.
Je pensais que c'était une
For
nouvelle classe,
example,
mais pas du
Hilda.
tout.
Hilda is a member of a guild of monster hunters. She will send you on missions to assassinate specific deadly creatures around Rayclast and harvest their parts. In exchange, she will teach you her monster hunting skills, like this one, which adds a 25%
Et
chance
tu
to
peux les mettre en
upgrade
même
any
temps ou
map boss
pas?
to a powerful
Mais en
version.
fait, c'est l'équivalent de mettre un autre
Or
Atlas.
this
En fait, il y a
one, which makes
plusieurs
Marian
Atlas.
spirits no
Non.
longer possess
Non, ok,
rare
ok, ok.
monsters,
Tous les
making them
problèmes
go
de
for the
lagging qu'on
unique
avait
bosses
sont
in the
fixes.
area instead.
Quasiment.
You
Quasiment.
might notice that many of the effects on these are both upsides and downsides. So Hilda, for example, can make it so that you only get one attempt when fighting pinnacle bosses. But in exchange for that, they always drop 2 uniques. Because of that, we wanted it to be easy to swap between them depending on what you're doing.
Ah,
As you
voilà.
unlock each master, they will appear on the side of the screen. Simply click whichever one you want to use to run the map,
Ouais, voilà.
and all the bonuses you have selected for that master will
Non,
be
c'est stylé, hein.
activated.
C'est vraiment
This
stylé.
allows you to have a few different
Non, c'est très,
strategies
très
that you can
fort.
quickly
C'est
pick
très, très
between,
fort.
depending on what you're running at the moment. Now, one thing that's been pretty obvious is that the in-game leagues we created when launching Early Access in 0.10 were not really up to the standard of the leagues we did since then. Fate of the Vaal and Rise of the Abyssal just have a lot more going on than Delirium or Expedition, for example. We wanted to do a serious upgrade to all of these mechanics before we do our 1.0 release, and so that's what we've done. All 4 of the leagues we launched in Early Access have been upgraded with not only new quest lines, but new mechanics, new crafting systems, new uniques, and new pinnacle bosses.
J'aime bien le nouveau Delirium, moi.
One of the really important changes we made to all the leagues is
Il est
that you can
vraiment
now
beau.
find them on the Atlas in specific locations, and
Wow,
each one
putain,
has a
let's
quest
go,
line that
bro.
will lead you there to being
Oh,
able to
mais
complete the
merci,
league, along with its
merci.
Atlas tree and its pinnacle boss.
Merci, il y a du target
This is true
focus.
even for the leagues that
Il y a-
we didn't do
il y a
major
quasiment
redesigns
tout dans la
to.
ligue.
So let's use Abyss as an example. When you first
manque le
encounter one in
blocage.
the endgame, you'll get a quest that leads you to the east, where you will find these mega abyss cracks in the earth leading away from the Well of Souls. All the maps along the cracks will contain abysses with special properties,
Ah ouais.
and mapping along these cracks will close the Atlas scale abysses, giving you points for the Abyss Atlas tree. At the end of each Atlas abyss, you'll find an Abyssal Depths with the boss fight for one of the Abyssal factions, giving you a guaranteed way to fight them. And after completing
Nice.
all 3, you'll get a key for the Well of
Ouais,
Souls,
Ils ont,
allowing
ils
you
ont,
to
ils ont
fight
arrêté
the
de
Vessel of
rendre les
Coolman.
boss chiants.
This
ou
kind of
random.
thing makes an
Ça, c'est
in-game
vraiment
league
très
so
bonne
much more friendly for new players,
Bah ouais.
giving people obvious goals and a guided experience to complete them. Alright, so let's talk about the first of the upgraded leagues, Delirium, and its new storyline, The Hare and the Raven. As you may remember, during Act 4 you were tricked into releasing an ancient entity from a Karui prison known as Tangmazu, the Raven Trickster. Tangmazu delights in breaking the minds of those who step through his mirrors, and when touching one, he will attempt to destroy your mind with twisted abominations generated from your worst fears. In Return of the Ancients, the first time you approach one of his delirium encounters in the endgame, you will find Elder Maddox locked in a trance. His mind is trapped in one of Tangmazu's delusions, and you will need to free him. Once free, Elder Maddox demands that as you caused this problem, you should put it right. He asks you to travel west to the Withered Willow, the location he believes that Tangmazu first gained his powers. But be careful. As you travel there, the Raven Trickster will attempt to break your mind. Each map around the Withered Willow features delirium encounters. Now this is more than a simple quest upgrade. The mechanic of delirium has been overhauled and expanded. At the bottom of the screen, there is now a bar that indicates how deep into delirium you are. You can see which direction leads deeper by looking at the fog, and the deeper you go, the more challenges you will face. By looking at the bar, you can see how long you have until the delirium ends. And you can also see special encounters that you will face if you're able to go deep enough into the fog. At the end of the bar is always the boss of the map, but we now have a variety of other encounters that you might find as you explore the horrors of your own mind. For example, you might encounter a purple mirror shard that when shattered will cause all the enemies to become more nightmarish. After hitting this, you'll notice the delirium demons are enhanced, significantly more powerful, larger, scarier in general, along with more rewards. Or should you encounter a red mirror shard, you'll be sent into the depths of your mind. And must escape it while fighting off hordes of your worst fears.
Non, mais les mobs sont magnifiques.
If you are able to do so, you will gain a powerful amulet with 2 instilled notables on it. Once you reach the Withered Willow, Elder Maddox discovers that a shard of the mirror is missing. You will need to track down Tangmazu and restore it if you have a hope of discovering how to defeat him. And that means entering the Raven Trickster's mirrors in an attempt to locate him. Each area around the Withered Willow contains delirium encounters, so that's a good place to start. As you do deliriums, some of the special encounters will drop liquid emotions. Normally these emotions can be used to install amulets to add notable passive buffs to them. But in Return of the Ancients, emotions have a new function as well. Each one now has the ability to add crafted mods to jewels, allowing you to add specific mods to an item slot that can be quite difficult to roll. For example, Liquid Despair will allow you to add critical hit chance, while Liquid Suffering will allow you to add movement speed or Air of Effect to your jewels, but there are many more. Once you've done enough delirium encounters, the location of a grand mirror, an entrance into Tangmazu's realm is revealed. But it won't be that simple to enter. Using his powers, he reflects the map boss for a ridiculous empowered fight, then destroys the entrance into his realm of madness.
Chat, ils viennent de nous donner du gambling de fin de ligue. Il y a tout dans la ligue.
In order to find him now, you'll need to let the insanity fully into your mind. A strange fruit is left behind which you can consume to fully embrace the madness in an attempt to reach the Raven Trickster's realm. Consuming the fruit will cover an entire area of the Atlas in fog, and every map you do in the fog will get progressively harder and harder as you explore the deeper reaches of your mind.
Oh, ok. Est-ce que le
At some point you enter a new layer. A simulacrum of your memories, twisted and perverted by the Raven Trickster.
Ah non, simulacrum, on dort.
Should you be able to complete the simulacrum, Tangmazu will believe that you are worthy of a true challenge, and will let you take the remaining shard of his mirror, allowing you to enter his realm of madness back at the Withered Willow. If you dare to face him, it will be a fearsome challenge.
Le nombre de boss.
So, that's the new storyline of Delirium. As you can see, it's not only a quest line, there are new mechanics, new crafting options, and new boss fights. But one question you might have is, what happens after?
Le mob,
once
t'as
you
l'impression
complete
d'être dans
the
le
story,
story.
grand mirrors will start appearing on the Atlas sometimes after completing Delirium encounters. After doing the grand mirror, you can select where on the Atlas you want to do your fruit-induced drug trip and get another key to fight Tangmazu. But this time, the fight will be quite a bit harder. And not only that, the fight will be able to drop a bunch of new uniques that were not available in the questline version. We'll show some of those later. After doing a grand mirror, the decision of where to spread the fog can be important because there are some potent emotions that only come from certain map bosses affected by Delirium this way. Like all emotions, they can craft special mods onto jewels, but these potent emotions can create mods that you can't get any other way. So for example, potent liquid melancholy is an emotion that can only come from human bosses and allows you to add a variety of on-hit effects. Also, you might want to try instilling amulets with these emotions. It could have some interesting effects with some powerful notables that do not normally exist on the tree. Like Storm's Rebuke, which makes armor break boost your cold and lightning damage. But also notables from a clearly deranged mind, like Calm's Blessing. This skill allows you to ancestrally boost fire spells after using a war cry. How about using an ancestral flame blast?
Là, il y a du gaming.
Now, just like before, you can also upgrade the League by getting points for a dedicated Delirium Atlas tree. But this now works in a much better way and has much cooler effects. The maps in the Delirium area of the Atlas give you Delirium passive points for completing them, so it's easy to see how to progress. Some nodes will add new types of mirror shard encounters to your Deliriums. Like this one, which will pause the Delirium for some amount of time, allowing you to more easily get to higher depths. Or this one, which adds extra Delirium modifiers to monsters when you pick it up.
C'est pas mal.
There are also nodes that can add new types of drops, like this one, which modifies simulacrum encounters to add special liquid emotions, which can craft time-lost jewels. And nodes that apply to the Atlas mechanics of the League, like this one, which causes the Grand Mirror to spread Delirium fog over a larger area of the Atlas, potentially containing multiple simulacrums. Alright, so that's the changes to Delirium. The core mechanic now includes a bunch of new things to find, new monsters to kill, and has new mechanics on the Atlas. It also has new crafting system for jewels, and over 20 new unlockable notables for amulets. Not only that, but you have a new pinnacle boss with a bunch of new unique items, and a massively upgraded Atlas tree just for Delirium.
Chat, est-ce que tu peux avoir l'amulette moins un préfixe avec 2 allocated plus l'allocated de
so let's talk
Delirium?
about Breach next. When you first do a Breach in the endgame, you'll find Aelith, one of the Keepers of the Flame, an ancient order of monks dedicated to preventing the Hiveborn from entering the world. As you seem to be a keen slayer of demons, Aelith would like to recruit you to the order, and asks that you travel to their monastery to the south. On the way there, you'll start to encounter more breaches, and will notice one of the first changes to the breach mechanic.
Il m'a répondu non en mode il est déjà dans le patch, lui, ça m'est bien.
But now you can visibly see how much time you have left to keep it open, and how each kill extends its duration.
Elles sont pas curses les amulettes. Hein.
Once you've reached the monastery, you will learn more about the Keepers. In the 25 years since the events of Keepers of the Flame in Path of Exile 1, the war with the Hiveborn has not gone well, and they have managed to establish a foothold on the world nearby. A gigantic area has fallen to the Scourge, and the Keepers are unable to get inside. Inside the monastery is the Genesis Tree, a powerful asset to the war effort, stolen from the enemy and gifted to the Keepers by the Dreamer himself.
Il y a tellement de contenu, c'est long. Genre,
using the tree, Aelith could create a breachstone and penetrate the Hiveborn foothold, but without Hiveblood, the tree has withered. To get Hiveblood, you will need to take advantage of another new mechanic of breach. If you can keep the otherworldly portal open for long enough, the breach will stabilize and will enter a new phase.
No way, on va pouvoir m'aller les
Hiveborn will send their toughest miscreations to defeat you, and the breach will not close until you can annihilate them, dropping Hiveblood that you can use to restore the Genesis Tree.
Oh sa mère, ça juice. Ça juice bien.
In some cases, you may even attract one of the deadliest foes the Hiveborn can offer, a Marshal of Zesht. These monsters also drop womb gifts, and if you take these to the Genesis Tree, they can be used to craft items to help you in the war against the Hiveborn.
Putain, ouais.
Given that 25 years have passed since the beginning of the war, the tree has grown and withered many times, but with each cycle it learns and expands its abilities. When you first open the Genesis Tree, you will notice these holes into which you can place your womb gifts. Each womb gift can be used to create a different type of jewelry and must be fertilized with Hiveblood.
Comment ne pas smile? Comment?
So for example, you can place this amulet womb gift into the tree and it will give birth to a random rare amulet. But the Genesis Tree is capable of much more. As you continue to feed the tree, its branches will regenerate and allow you more and more control over what kind of items it will birth. So for example, this branch of the tree will allow you to control which base types of amulets can be birthed. And as you go deeper, it will even allow you to create new base types that you can't get anywhere else. Like this one, which gives you an entire spirit skill for free. Or this one, which has a rune socket in it.
Ça, c'est
To the
fort.
left
Ça,
and
c'est
right are
fort.
branches that will let you control which mods the amulet can get, including making sure that they're higher level or controlling which specific mods that they will always have. With 15 points to allocate, you will have to choose wisely how you want to specialize your crafts.
Ouais, mais
But
c'est
it's
pas
worth
une-
noting that this tree doesn't have any cost to respecking it. You can enable
Ça,
or
on va se
disable the
faire.
nodes at any time by clicking on them.
Déjà, sur PE1, je suis un grand fan de malaxeur
On
d'avoir
rings,
un truc,
we've
je
also
suis
added
une
some
joie de
really
pouvoir
interesting new
malaxer en
crafting
plus.
options as well.
Respect.
You have a bunch of new base types like these, but you also have entire new classes of mods that
Plus
can
1
be
to
added.
all max res.
The right-hand branch of the ring tree adds an entire new set of caster mods to rings. From basics like extra elemental damage for spells, or more niche options like this mod that increases the rate you gain seals for Unleash.
What the fuck? What the
And on the
fuck?
left-hand side, you can unlock an entire new set of mods for minion characters.
Ah, mais non, mais le niveau de
This stuff is
customisation,
actually pretty important, because casters and minion builds didn't have as many slots with interesting item crafting compared to attack builds. The Genesis tree narrows that gap. There are also trees for belts and currency. I won't go over them too much here, but there are all sorts of goodies in these too, like being able to create new catalysts for jewels, or a belt that gives lightning damage.
Ah ouais.
Once you've done enough breach encounters, you may finally get a womb gift capable of birthing a breach stone. And you can then use it on the Hiveborn incursion.
It smells like home here.
Ok.
Once used, the true extent of the breach demon's foothold becomes clear. They have not only transformed the land, but constructed huge sky hives as well. When you enter the outskirts of their realm, you will discover breach hives. Using the power of the Keepers of the Flame, these otherworldly structures can be burned away when walking through them. But for each one destroyed, more of the Hiveborn will attack when you attempt to purge the hive.
Non, mais par contre, cinéma.
These encounters are particularly rewarding for womb gifts, so you'll want to do as many of these as you can. But your real goal are
Chayo,
the
la
sky
cabaliste.
hives deeper into the domain.
Oh, le nours.
These twisted creations are securing the demon's entry into our world. Inside the very center are the Breach Lords
La
Tool and
méga
Ash,
couille. La
and you'll
méga
need to
couille.
defeat them if you want to get rid of the foothold once and for all. Now, once you've completed the questline version, there is still more to do. You will find other breach domains on the Atlas randomly in your travels. For each one, you will need to find a breach stone, destroy the sky hives, and defeat the Breach Lords.
Et après?
And doing these encounters is what will give you access to fight Zesht, the existing Breach Pinnacle boss, which you can access by communing with the Dreamer himself inside the monastery. While completing the questline for Breach, you will also be gaining points for the Breach Atlas tree, and there are a lot of cool new options here. This node will cause Breach hives to spawn outside of the Hiveborn domains on the Atlas,
En fait, le truc qui donne des chances
and
de
this one
choses,
will
c'est
give
un peu
Aleph
éclaté. Hein.
additional abilities that you can use while attacking a hive,
C'est un peu éclaté.
like this one, which causes all Hiveborn in the next wave to be magic,
C'est super fort.
drastically increasing their
J'ai rien
difficulty
dit, c'est
in
super
exchange
fort.
for way more items. There are also nodes that allow you to control your rewards, like this one, which adds a set
C'est
of
un
new
peu éclaté.
lineage supports to the Marshal of Zesht. Or this one, which lets you control which womb gifts you will get.
Super fort.
There's also some nodes that affect the Genesis tree, like this one, which will cause Zesht to drop his head, which when returned to the Genesis tree, will grow a grasping orchid on the side of it. You'll have to experiment to find out what this thing is good for. Putting rings on its fingers seems to make it happy. So that's a rundown of what you can expect from the new Breach questline.
Mais dites
There's
pas
a new
qu'ils ont rajouté
stabilization
les chests
mechanic for
avec les modes
breaches.
brèche, s'il vous plaît. Me dites pas qu'ils ont
Hive
rajouté
encounters.
les modes Esh.
And Hiveborn incursions on the
Me
Atlas.
dites pas, me dites pas,
But
me
you
dites
also
pas.
have a huge new crafting system and new bosses as well. Alright, so let's talk about the Rite of the Nameless storyline next. When you first complete a ritual in the endgame, Aoife, a lost spirit, will appear. She appears to need your help, but isn't able to communicate more than a few words, beckoning you to come to the Wildwood. Like the other leagues, Ritual now has a place on the Atlas to call home.
C'est vrai?
The Wildwood can be found to the west.
Oh.
When you first arrive there, Aoife's spirit will guide you in, where you will discover that inside the wildwood, spirits can take physical form. Aoife has been bound to this place by the King of the Mists, and requests that you free her. But in order to do so, you will need her body, currently in possession of the king. To reclaim it, you will need to gain an audience with him. Inside the wildwood, there are many ritual encounters to complete. Like before, in each area, triggering rituals will resurrect the nearby bound monsters to attack you, and killing the monsters will give you tribute. In addition, each ritual you do in the area will add the monsters from the previous ritual, making the encounters much more challenging the more rituals you complete. Once you've completed them, spend your tribute to get items. Now, an important change to the rewards of ritual is that all the items in the reward window are now uniques or omens, making this league's rewards much more valuable than before.
D'accord.
In order to gain an audience with the Nameless King, you need to sacrifice tribute to him. Any remaining tribute you don't spend can be sacrificed this way to fill up this bar.
Magnifique.
Once you have enough tribute for an audience, return to the wildwood to divine his location with the Nameless Shrine.
Incroyable.
His location will be revealed deeper in the wildwood, and you will need to make your way to him,
Meilleur design que j'ai vu de toute la vidéo, je pense.
And get Aoife's body.
Ah, mais là,
Using her body, you can attempt to release her spirit, but this is when you learn about the true threat of the League. The wildwood is built on top of an ancient prison. The King in the Mists didn't gain his power out of nowhere. He was granted it by an ancient being of darkness known as the Bodark, and the Nameless King's use of this power has been causing the prison to weaken. In order to prevent the Bodark from entering the world, a champion will need to enter its prison and beat him back, but those with a name are unable to survive there. In order to do so, you will need to transfer your name to another with a new mechanic in the Ritual League, the Rite of the Nameless. The rite will begin in a nearby forest. At first, it appears to be a regular ritual encounter, but that will soon change. The final ritual of the area will include the map boss.
Ça, c'est stylé.
And defeating him will give you a piece of the effigy onto which you will transfer your name. But the ritual is still not complete. Once the map boss is defeated, the atlas will open, and you will need to pick another adjacent map to continue the ritual.
Okay.
During the rite, each adjacent map will have different rewards to tempt you. So for example, if you go in this direction, you gain significantly more tribute. But if you go in this direction, the uniques in the reward window will turn into currency instead. You can also sometimes get offered specific items that will be added as rewards. So in this case, you'll have to choose if you want to get 5 Chaos Orbs or a Mage Blood. A difficult decision, I'm sure. Now, as this is one continuous ritual, the encounters in the next map won't start from scratch. They contain all the monsters that were gathered from the rituals of the previous map as well, making them harder and harder. And that includes the map boss too. You will need to defeat both map bosses in the final encounter for your next effigy piece. And it still doesn't end there. Pick another map, another reward,
Putain, mais c'est infini,
and add
genre.
another map boss to continue until the ritual of the Nameless is complete. It will take 5 maps in all, and it'll be an incredible challenge. But once complete, you can return to the Wildwood to perform the final rite. Transfer your name to the effigy, adorn the crown of the Nameless King, and enter the prison. Now of course, once the Pinnacle boss is complete, the League doesn't end there. As you do rituals on the Atlas, you can continue to give tribute to the King in the Mists for another audience. Pick another forest to begin the Rite of the Nameless once more, and this time with a harder Pinnacle boss and new unique items to find. Of course, we've also significantly upgraded the Ritual Atlas tree. Get points by completing maps in the Wildwood, and you'll be able to unlock some pretty cool notes.
J'aurais pas cru dire ça, mais c'est un indice.
Some of them affect the Rite of the Nameless, like this one, which extends its duration.
Indécent.
You thought
Indécent.
fighting 5 map bosses at once was hard? How about
Indécent.
6?
Ouais, et celui-là,
Or this one, which makes maps during the Rite have more reward
Indécent.
mods, often having 2.
Très fort.
You also have nodes that allow things to combine with other content, like
Indécent.
this one, which gives a chance for rituals to be created inside summoning circles, adding a random boss to the ritual encounter. There is even a node which adds a new type of possible ritual, the Audience with the Queen, which causes the Bride of the King to sometimes appear. Okay, so that's ritual. But let's have a look at what
Rituel
this
a l'air
means for in-game content as a whole for Path of
complètement
Exile 2. When you include the
Complètement
expedition
broken.
changes made by the League, we have a total of 5 new in-game storylines, each of which has a hub, crafting systems, areas to explore, NPCs, and a pinnacle boss as a capstone. Not to mention the Masters of the Atlas storyline as well. But more importantly, you now have immediate quests as soon as you arrive at the endgame, and goals with obvious progressions that you can see how to finish. Each endgame questline has a progress bar that you can pop out from the side of the Atlas screen at any time that shows you how far through you are, and buttons that will take you to the hubs for it. Overall, it's just a way better in-game experience with a significant number of fun objectives to complete. But just in case you didn't have enough goals, we did have one other thing that you might want to complete this league. These are called challenge leagues after all. Where are all the challenges? Well, players of Path of Exile 1 will be used to the fact that each league comes with a series of challenges that you can complete in order to prove that you are indeed the best. We haven't done these yet in Path of Exile 2, but it's time to change that. If you're able to complete them, you'll earn pieces of the Knight of Alder armor set. Opening the challenge screen will show you a series of 8 challenges. After completing each one, anyone in chat or in the forums will be able to see your prowess. In addition, you'll get a statue to put in your hideout showing anyone you trade with how many challenges you've completed.
Va te faire foutre, c'est quoi la taille de ton
You'll earn the
saut,
first piece of the armor set after doing 2 challenges, and the full armor set after completing all 8. So that covers all the content you'll encounter in Return of the Ancients. But what about some new tools to fight against these new pinnacles with? Well, we also have some new ascendancy classes as well, but to introduce them, I'll hand you guys back to Mark.
Ascendancy.
As Jonathan said, we have 2 new classes to show you today.
Login.
The Spirit Walker and the Martial Artist.
Bug out.
Let's start with the Huntress's new class, the Spirit Walker. The Spirit Walker has developed an affinity with the Asmerian animal spirits. She is able to infuse the power of multiple spirits at her choosing.
Mais on s'en branle.
On the bottom part of the class, you will find paths for each wisp you would like to commune with, be they primal, vivid, or wild. Each one can give you different abilities that align with the stag, owl, or bear. Each ability gives you a method to become possessed by wisps of that type, and a new ability when you spend them. The stag allows you to summon stampedes when you attack. The owl grants boons in the form of their feathers, which adds extra projectiles and enhances the projectile speed of your next skill. And the bear simply summons a giant bear companion to your side. The bear will maul, slam, leap, and do intimidating roars to debuff your enemies. Now you can specialize more into each of these wisps, but if you want to combine all 3 of them, then a new hidden power will be unlocked. The power of the sacred wisps.
Huh?
Your stags will become more aggressive, leaping towards enemies, and your owl-empowered skills will leave a trail of soaring ground behind them. But that's not all. The Spirit Walker has other powers beyond wisps, such as idolatry, which can give you large bonuses for using idol socketables in your equipment. And this one, which is my absolute favorite. The Spirit Walker, having attuned herself with nature, can gain the ability to tame beast bosses, opening up a whole suite of very cool options for your build.
Ok, j'avoue c'est stylé.
Maybe
Non.
you tame the
J'avoue,
mighty
c'est stylé.
Silverfist in the jungle depths.
Non, c'est stylé. Non, c'est stylé.
Or maybe a 3-headed chimeral beast in the chimeral wetlands.
Non, c'est stylé. Non,
Or then
non,
there's
c'est
a
stylé.
giant frozen owl beast, Rakar, the frozen talon. There's so many choices. You're going to have to experiment a bunch with this one, and I'm very excited to see what bosses you all choose to have as your trusted boss companion.
Ah, mais mec, mais c'est quoi le
Next up, we have the
mob?
monk's new ascendancy class, the Martial Artist. After decades of training, he has mastered 3 of the 7 hollow techniques. Channeling hollow form technique allows the martial artist to create illusions of himself, which then use a skill of your choosing.
Ça a intérêt à
Perfect
être
for
broken.
turning
Hein.
skills with
Parce que
less
si tu
area of
bouges plus, ça a
effect
intérêt à être
into ones that can
broken.
obliterate packs with ease. Should you find yourself overly vulnerable while channeling, you might want to take Way of the Mountain, which causes you to be covered in stone when you immobilize enemies,
Smells like
mitigating
home.
large amounts of damage. This can
673
even
bisous,
enhance your
Pandore,
attacks
bisous,
too.
Ratson et la team
By
Exile.
hardening your weapon in
Thanks,
stone,
Petit Serafine.
you can deal even more damage. After taking Hollow Focus technique, you can manifest your spiritual energy into objects. In this case, bells, which will appear around the martial artist and can be shattered by any of his attacks.
Ouais, ok, c'est random.
Even ones from the Hollow Form technique earlier.
Ouais, c'est random, c'est un peu éclaté.
Hollow Resonance technique furthers that by adding a manifested bell to your back, which rings each time you deal a critical strike, damaging all enemies around you.
Ok, c'est fort. C'est très très fort.
Through all the martial artist's thorough training, he has mastered the flow of internal spiritual energy too, and has engraved runic tattoos around his meridians.
C'est pas mal.
By doing this, he can gain the benefit of extra runes. Just open your inventory and add the runes. There is one that counts as a helmet, 2 as a body armor, 1 as gloves, and 1 as boots. Finally, your hands, the ultimate expression of a master of the martial arts. Taking Way of the Stone Fist will cause your gloves to become a new base type when equipped. Each modifier on the original pair of gloves has an equivalent, more powerful, and more impactful modifier. For example, these gloves add some physical damage, cold damage, lightning damage, some resistances, and life gain on hit.
Ouais, et si tu les mets dans l'autre
Now,
sens.
when I equip these, they become literal fists of stone, and not only grant me a bunch more evasion and energy shield,
Oh putain,
they
oui,
now
attends.
also grant a lot more damage, some
Attends,
maximum
c'est
resistances,
fort.
and a significantly higher amount of life gained on hitting enemies.
Ah ouais, non mais c'est astronomique.
With all the different rune combinations you could do, and the different modifiers and gloves, there's a ton of different build options, and we're looking forward to
Là-haut,
seeing
là.
what you can come up with.
Ah, il y a un monde
Now,
où ça va être
with
fort. Hein.
so many new bosses in Return of the
Il y a un monde où ça va être
Ancients,
fort.
of course we want to have a huge number of unique
Ça a vraiment l'air
rewards.
fort.
There are some pretty cool things in here, so we wanted to show you a few of them.
Oh loulou.
Twisted
Hello.
Empyrean is a two-handed mace made from the purest of Verisium, combined with the beast's corruption. It converts all
Mana
of your
stacker.
mace's skills fire damage to cold,
Ah, Mana
and
stacker.
visually does so too,
Tout ce que j'ai vu, c'est Mana
turning your
stacker.
volcanic fissures into glacial ones.
J'ai juste vu Mana stacker, moi.
This space also comes with its own built-in skill, Starborn Onslaught. Using Glory, you can leap backwards, throwing your mace at the ground, creating Verisium
bon,
fissures,
qui
before
va jouer
calling
masse?
behind it
Je
a
te le demande.
storm of cold metallic bolts from the stratosphere. Next, we have Eventide Petals, an amulet that not only grants runic ward, but also comes with its own reservation skill, Midnight Zenith. This skill causes your critical hits to grant Arctic petals that hover around you. Once you have acquired enough of these petals, they will be consumed, creating a floral ice crystal near an enemy. Then, destroy that crystal to do devastating cold damage to everything around it.
Ils ont tellement buff le cold ce patch. Genre, il y a
The
tellement de buff
Raven's
cold.
Flock is a staff perfect for minion characters. Not only does it grant spirit reservation efficiency and minion damage, it also allows your minions to inflict grueling madness on hit, slowing enemies and making all other slows on them more powerful, for maximum crowd control.
C'est fort.
That's not where this item shines though.
Je sais pas si c'est
It grants a
super
skill
fort, mais
called
c'est fort.
Spiraling Conspiracy. This skill causes a flock of ravens to circle you, dealing damage over time to anything near them.
RF is back.
Killing enemies, or just by standing near
putain.
unique enemies, causes the flock
Val
to
RF.
grow, getting larger and larger.
RF.
For your PoE 1 players, you can think of this just like a raven righteous fire. That's not all, however.
C'est très stylé. Hein.
These ravens are also minions, so they fully scale with minion damage and come with their own command skill, Mad Flight. This command skill causes your flock to create a tunnel of deathly damage
Ça me paraît
between a
complètement
set
broken.
of illusory mirrors, obliterating anything in between.
Ça me paraît complètement pété. Hein. Je suis le seul à trouver ça complètement insane ou...
Horror's Flight is a pair of gloves
Ça a l'air complètement
instilled
pété.
with the purest
C'est
of fear.
bah, c'est complètement pété.
Equipping these causes your enemies to become terrified of you. These gloves cause you to gain stacks of fear incarnate when you cull enemies. To aid in your culling, these gloves also come with the skill Crushing Fear.
Je pense que c'est fort
This
que
is
sur une
similar
classe
to
qui a
the
déjà
monk
du
skill
cul.
Killing Palm, except it deals chaos damage, and the amount of damage and area of effect scales drastically
Par
based
contre,
on the
la
power of
densité de
the
map...
enemy.
C'est quoi RF?
As
C'est
you
Right
use
Eos
this,
Fire, c'est un spell
gain
de
your
PO1
stacks of fear incarnate,
qui est très demandé
which
parce qu'il est
increases
très
your
agréable
culling
à jouer.
threshold. meaning enemies become easier and easier to kill, even to the point of being able to instantly kill some monsters from full life. Sylvan's effigy is a scepter for those wanting to run companions. It allows you to have any number of companions of different types,
Quoi?
instead of the normal restriction of just one per type. But what makes this cool is the Asmerian wolf companion it comes with. This is a persistent minion that bites foes to maim them, leaps to cause bleeding, and even howls to buff nearby allies. Additionally, it comes with the command skill Eternal Hunt, which when used it will howl, calling on the spirits to manifest spectral wolves to ambush all foes around you.
Ouais, c'est un mignon build,
Liminal
mais je
Coil
suis
is
pas
a
convaincu.
crazy wand. It allows you to apply as many curses as you please, but those curses will
J'ai
have no
rarement vu
effect.
un item
What's
aussi
the point,
pété
then?
de ma vie.
Two reasons. Firstly,
Rarement vu
your
aussi
spells gain a
pété que ça.
bunch of extra physical and chaos damage for each curse on enemies.
50% de dégâts en plus
Secondly,
par curse.
is the skill it grants
J'ai jamais vu
called
aussi
Coiling Bolts. This skill is a projectile spell that fires
Jamais vu aussi
coiling
pété.
physical and chaos projectiles with every cast. What makes this skill truly special though, is that it will split and chain through every cursed enemy, causing an absolute ruckus. See
oui,
for
d'accord.
yourself.
Complètement
Periphery is a
pété.
unique bow,
Complètement pété.
which utilizes all the powers of the Asmerian spirits by dealing damage of all elements. And all elements can cause all ailments.
Complètement pété
The
aussi.
coolest thing about this bow, however, is the
Dommage qu'il ait pas de
Asmerian
dégâts.
Swarm skill. These are minions that are summoned when you kill enemies. They will pursue all nearby enemies, damaging them and inflicting a debuff on them that boosts your elemental damage even further.
Ah, je
Watch
suis
as you
choc
mow
mort.
enemies down, and the swarms of Asmerian wisps aid you, melting enemies one screen at a time.
Le problème c'est que les bows en late game, tu peux pas rester sur un unique. Ça se trouve c'est bien en early, mais je pense que tu peux
The
pas rester sur un unique.
Ordained is a new spear,
Sauf s'il y a une version
mastering in
augmentée.
physical and lightning damage, with high critical strike chance too. This spear allows you to leech life not
Astronomique.
only from physical damage, but
Astronomique.
lightning too. It also creates a fragment of divinity nearby periodically. What are those? Well, this spear has the skill Righteous Descent, which is an epic, divine leap, aided by angelic wings. If you use the skill when a fragment of divinity is nearby, it will become empowered, dealing significantly more damage, gaining massive area of effect, and bypassing its cooldown.
Ouais, mais le cast time, frérot.
When
le cast
fighting
time,
a
s'il te plaît,
boss,
le cast time.
let a bunch of the fragments spawn, and then just unleash your divine havoc, obliterating them.
D'accord, il a mis combien de milliards de dégâts là?
Last, but not least, we have a new unique
Voices.
jewel. Voices. Voices is simple. It consumes one jewel slot to add
Voices.
more. There are versions that add 2 jewel slots, 3 jewel slots, and for those who are absurdly lucky or rich, one with 4 jewel slots.
Oh,
Equip it, and notice the slots appear next to your character's portrait in the center.
complètement pété. Complètement pété. Oh!
One of the things we are
Complètement
concerned
pété.
about
Et les voices
is
sont
how
valables sur
long
tous les
it takes
builds.
for experienced players
trolls
to
à pas
replay
jouer
through the
voice.
game
C'est
in
valable sur
each
tous les
new
builds.
league.
Complètement pété.
As we learned
Je
from
pense
Path
qu'un
of Exile
4,
1,
un 4
one
duel,
of
ça
the
peut être
things
de
that
meilleur
can really
facile.
help is having elements in the campaign that tell you where to go,
Aucune vanne.
if you know what to look for. We'll cover just one example per act for acts
On peut
1
les
to
stack,
3,
évidemment.
but there are many more than just these. For example, Hunting
sûr qu'on
Grounds
peut.
in Act 1 is a large,
Smells like
sparse
home here.
area, containing multiple entrances
Mr. Antoine
and
streamed
landmark
my days
encounters.
out of my Pandore.
Here's an example of some of the
Peut-être que
changes
c'est
we've
le
made
truc qui
here.
Un ennemi.
Finding the ritual encounter in this area isn't too difficult. Now, after completing it, a trail of locusts will lead to the entrance to Freythorn. Just follow it and find the source of the evil.
Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça encore?
You may also find corpses of dead animals,
Qu'est-ce que c'est que
killed
ça encore?
and pecked at by the crowbell.
C'est écrit limite tout 1?
You'll notice
ah
a
ouais.
trail of blood leading
Peut-être
away
alors.
from them. Follow the trail
Ah,
and
c'est
it will
bien
lead
alors, parce que
directly
ça-
to the
ça-
boss.
Ça fera en sorte que ça coûtera peut-être un peu moins cher. Mais je pense que ça coûtera quand même
We
une
even
blinde.
put a signpost on the road to tell you which way to go to find Ogham Village.
In Act 2, in the Mastodon Badlands, you need to find the Lightless Caverns and track down the Abyssal. Now to make this quicker, in the level you'll find these cracks. Just follow them, and it will take you right to their lair, allowing you to find and
C'est
unlock
la
the Well of
QL.
Souls.
C'est la QL. C'est bien ça.
In Act 3, the jungle areas have camps of explorers to sell you items. However, they are now even more useful. By talking to the explorers, they will point towards the next area. Not only that, but it will also reveal it on the minimap, so you can know exactly where to go.
Ah ouais.
These are just some examples. We plan to do more and more of these over time in order to streamline the experience.
Putain, merci mon dieu.
Now, as this is an in-game expansion, it makes sense that we would work on Atlas QOL. We've added a search box that updates live as you type. Have a specific map you want to run? Now they will be much easier to find. If there are multiple maps, hitting enter will move you from map to map.
Now, making a character build in Path of Exile 2 can be pretty complex. And instead of designing a build yourself, many players enjoy following online build guides.
We have a pretty awesome community that has built many tools over the years for designing builds, but we wanted to improve the experience of following them.
So, we are introducing a new build guide system directly into the game client.
No way.
Here's how it works. Community creators who write build guides can now create a new file format, a build file. Once downloaded, the builds appear in the in-game client, and selecting one will show you everything you need to know to make that build. So you can see all the passives you need to allocate,
Alors ça, si c'est pas une folie,
ascendancy
mec.
points you need to take, skill gems you need to equip, and recommendations for all the support gems you need to use as well. For items, the build
Alors
designer
ça,
can
si c'est pas une
specify which
folie.
uniques to use in each slot, or if needed, just add some notes to the item slot
Oh
to
my
say what kind of item you need.
Non,
In
alors
fact,
là.
build creators can add notes to just about any of these areas, allowing them to explain different trade-offs in context, or just give more info about how these things should be used.
Smells like
Non, mais ça,
home here.
c'est historique.
They can also give level ranges
C'est
to each
historique.
element, allowing recommendations to change over
Vous
time.
vous rendez pas compte le nombre de
Great for
personnes
builds
qui
that need to
vont...
respec after they reach a certain level.
Oh là 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 là. Non,
Now,
c'est trop là.
all of this is written in a standardized build format that creators can use. And we imagine that a lot of community build tools will be updated to add support for this format.
Now that we have trade market searching built into the in-game client, we have added the ability to price check items you can find more easily. Control-Alt-clicking an item will now search for it on the trade market, showing you the current prices. For rare items, it's handy to exclude some mods.
Mais attendez,
So we
ils ont
added the
embauché les
ability
mecs
to
de
enable
TPE Trade et
and
tout, en
disable
fait.
each mod so you can see what effect each one has on the price.
Ils ont juste embauché les mecs de
Next
TPE
up, we're
Trade et
going to be
de
talking
PE
about
Ninja,
the
en
new
fait.
supporter packs for Return of the Ancients. Today, we're launching two new series of supporter packs, the Blood Reaver and Divinity packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way.
Classique.
The Blood Reaver series of supporter packs contains
C'est pas
6
beau, hein.
exclusive microtransactions. Let blood fuel your bloodshed. The Exsanguinator weapon effect draws the blood of enemies you've slain and funnels it into your weapons. Turn the appearance of your endurance, frenzy, and power charges into orbiting globules of blood
Ça,
with
c'est
the
sympa,
Blood
ouais.
Reaver charges.
Ça, c'est stylé.
While your charges are active, these blood orbs will grow in size when you absorb more blood from nearby enemies.
Ça, c'est stylé. Ça, c'est
There are
stylé.
options to have pure blood charges, or charges that still display which kind of charge they are at their core.
Ouh, stylé ça aussi.
A taste for blood doesn't negate a taste for style. The Elite Blood Reaver armor
là, c'est
features
stylé.
crimson leathers
Là,
and
c'est un peu
golden
stylé, je trouve.
accents to set yourself apart from uncivilized leeches. It also features a back attachment, fashioned out of the wing of a colossal bat.
Ça, c'est un peu stylé quand même.
Alongside every Blood Reaver is their trusted gargoyle pet. In true gargoyle fashion, they take the form of a stone statue when you are idle, leaping into action when you're on the move
Ça,
again.
c'est stylé. Ça, c'est stylé.
What good is immortality if you don't have a vast mansion to come
Non,
home
moi
to
j'aime
at the
bien.
end of the
Pour le
day?
coup, Neuronically, j'aime bien.
The
Au début,
Eternal
j'aimais
Blood
pas.
Reaver supporter
Avec
pack
le casque
contains
ouvert,
the
mais casque
Blood
fermé, ça
Reaver
va
Manor
encore.
hideout. This exquisite two-story estate features an organ, a grand dining table, and cages for your visitors. You can alter the
Comment ça,
walls
une
to
table
create
à
as
dîner
many
avec des
or
cadavres?
few rooms as you like.
Ça c'est stylé pour
Last
le
but
design.
not least, the Servant of the Manor, eternally bound to the Order of the Blood Reavers. This henchman will manage your store, so you can spend more time spilling blood.
Stop that. We won't disappoint you.
Mais c'est Dobby en fait.
If we do, you've our permission to beat us most violently.
The Divinity Pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
Les portails
Call
ont
on
du flow.
Divinity to aid you in eluding enemy hits
Non, ça,
with the
c'est- ça,
Divinity
chat.
dodge roll effect.
Oh,
As you sprint,
Nah, ça,
actual
c'est-
divine
laisse
lightning
bail.
wings will form out of your back, leaving a trail of radiance as you
Non, non,
engage
non, non, ça, c'est
or
pay to win.
escape from combat.
Je m'y connais, ça c'est pay to win.
For
C'est pay to win.
situations that are too dicey, call on the gods above to send down the storm
Non,
of
non, non,
divinity
non, non, mais
portal
l'aura
to
farming
create
est
a
too
safe
much.
passage for you to retreat
Too
through.
much, too much.
Adorn yourself with the Knight of Divinity armor set, a highly revered attire only bestowed to those
Ah, le
deemed
casque
worthy
est
for the
pas
divine
beau.
cause. Equipping the Divine Surge character effect empowers you with a storm of divine energy. Using skills causes the storm to burst from your character, spilling raw divinity into the area
Ça y est,
around
il a
you.
dit combien de fois Divine là, ça y est, non?
The Arbiter of Divinity wings are the final
Ok,
piece
là, on
remaining to
parle.
emphasize the force
Ok.
Divinity has over this realm.
Aïe aïe aïe, je vais peut-être devoir
This
dépenser.
ancient precursor machine was found locked away
je
in
vais
a
devoir mettre
highly
80
guarded
balles.
vault.
Ah,
Its
fais chier,
original
putain.
purpose is unclear, but it has been altered to fuel your maps using the pure, everlasting divinity within the statue.
Attends, mais la
Pillars
statue est
surrounding
enceinte là, en
represent
fait, elle est
how
enceinte
many
de map en
portals you
fait, là,
have
je
left for
connais.
your map. This map device also tracks your progress as you complete the new Origins of Divinity storyline, added this expansion. Additionally, all microtransactions from the supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1.
Ouais,
On
j'achète, je
release
pense.
weekend, we will
Ça fait
also
longtemps que
be
j'ai pas acheté un
releasing the
pack.
Return of the
Ça fait
Ancients
longtemps que
mystery
j'ai pas acheté un
box,
pack.
which will contain 2 armor sets, a set of map
Non,
devices for your
attends, quoi?
in-game
Le
adventures,
corbeau est trop stylé.
a new tracking scroll that records the amount of currency you've gained from the currency exchange or your shop, and much more, like a set of finisher effects and
Attends,
affinity
la meuf
stashes.
corbeau là, magnifique hein.
That's not all, however. The Fragment Stash tab is finally coming to Path
Oh
of Exile 2,
putain, enfin,
and with it comes some tabception.
enfin.
Inside this one tab, there's a tab for your various boss key fragments. There's also a tab for all your precursor tablets, with each type of tablet getting 6 tabs of
incroyable.
storage.
Incroyable.
Finally, there's a tab for your Djinn barriers and inscribed ultimatums,
Oh, let's fucking
both
go.
of which get their own 6 tabs. That's a lot of tabs.
So that's everything in 050. This is by far the biggest update we've ever made to PoE 1 or 2. New in-game storylines, pinnacle bosses,
Et non, pour le portail et la
crafting
course.
systems,
Bah, si,
items,
tu dois prendre le pack anyways, tu peux pas prendre
ascendancy
individuellement.
classes, and so much more.
C'est le problème.
Now, because this update contains so much in-game content, we're doing significantly more testing than usual. For that to happen, we're taking a little longer than usual between the announcement and the release. 050 will be released in 3 weeks on May the 29th, with the patch notes being released on
Yeah,
the Friday
don't.
before that, on May 21st. But there's just one more thing to talk about. Now that the endgame is up to scratch, we have to start talking about our plan for 1.0 release. The feedback we've had during early access has been critical for making all the improvements that we'll be making to the game. At the same time, we had to create enough in-game content to make an RPG that can call itself a successor to Path of
Voilà.
Exile 1. Well, with 050, we now believe we have reached that point.
Oui, je suis
And so
d'accord.
this is going to be the
Je suis
last
d'accord.
full-size league during early access. That's right. The next big update is going to be 1.0. Now, normally we would do our next big
Okay.
content release in August, but in the run-up to full release, our plans take a little longer on this one. As big as 050 is, 1.0 is even bigger. So we'll be launching 1.0 this year sometime after
Décembre.
ExileCon. But that doesn't mean we won't be
Pour
doing
Noël.
updates in the meantime.
Pour
In this
Noël.
final phase, we have a lot
On
of
savait
things to
déjà,
polish
ouais.
throughout the game and balance to improve.
Bah, ça va
I'm sure
donner,
there'll also
chat,
be feedback about the
ça
new
va donner
endgame
une
we
marche
need to
parfaite pour
incorporate
la
too.
ligue de PoE1.
The
Magnifique.
difference is that the focus is not going to be on adding more content like the previous updates, it's going to be on improving what we already have. But we still want to encourage people to try out all the balance changes and improvements that we're making. So we're going to be running a few event leagues during this phase alongside each update.
Nice.
Think remixes of existing mechanics or features.
Mais je dis, c'est même pas la même.
And speaking of
ouais.
ExileCon, don't forget to pencil it in on the weekend of November the 7th in New Zealand. ExileCon is a gathering of our players, and a chance for us to showcase
Smells like
everything
home
we'll be
here.
working on for both Path of Exile 1
Il y en a
and
encore un
2.
d'Expo 17.
And this one will be particularly important for us,
le nouveau moine,
since we
il a du
finally
floor.
get to unveil some of the
Il a
coolest
vraiment
content
du
that we've been
floor.
working on for a while now with Act 5 and 6. Tickets for the in-person event are currently sold out, but don't worry, all the announcements and talks are going to
Il
be
est
streamed
déjà
online
sold out
for all
alors
of
c'est
you to watch.
novembre.
Now, I'm personally so excited for this. This is the year that PoE 2 comes out. The campaign is finally finished. It's been 8 years to get here, but we're finally near the finish line. And with that, it's time to move on to our live Q&A.
Bah écoutez chat, moi je vais pas rester pour la Q&A parce qu'il est déjà 23h30. Rien à dire. Masterclass. Masterclass. Honnêtement, rien à dire. Le patch a l'air juste monstrueux, pur cinéma, W sur W, de la QL dans tous les sens, du craft, du endgame, de plusieurs dimensions dans lesquelles tu peux opti ton mapping, une manière de pouvoir target farm, une manière de pouvoir opti l'accuracy sur plusieurs mécaniques, comme ça t'es pas isolé sur une seule mécanique broken. Plusieurs mécaniques de craft dans le même patch, changement d'Atlas Tree, changement de Passive Tree, l'importation des builds qui va rendre le truc trop facile, enfin beaucoup plus
Ça,
simple.
je viens de recevoir cette notification sus, c'est grave. Steam vous remercie de votre achat. Pour télécharger Path of Exile 2, rendez-vous dans votre bibliothèque.
Oui, tu vas malheureusement devoir forfaiter tes 1000 prochaines heures. Ouais, je suis j'ai toutes mes condoléances. Et chat, c'est sans compter, sans déconner, no fake, mais je pense que c'est peut-être... Alors, attention, c'est un patch ultra important parce que si c'est le patch précurseur de la 1.0, sachant qu'il n'y aura pas de nouveau patch de contenu et que ça sera de la QL, voire de classe, il faut faire attention parce que il y a plusieurs raisons pour lesquelles ça doit percer là-dessus en fait. Honnêtement, si j'accroche pas au late game là, je pense que je pourrais pas accrocher à PoE2 dans son entièreté. Parce que là, la refonte globale, est-ce que ça doit être match avec le mindset d'un joueur de PoE1, mais il faut que sur la longueur, ça match aussi en fait. Mais après, il y a un power creep de dégénéré et un potentiel de min-max de fou, plus du contenu qui va challenge. Donc, je pense, sincèrement, que ça devrait être fine. Mais bon, je vais pas non plus, tu vois, je vais pas non plus tirer des conclusions trop tôt, chat. Après, ce qui est certain, c'est que cette ligue de PoE, je vais la jouer. Donc on se dit au 29 pour se rejoindre pour PoE. J'ai écrit ma lettre de démission. Je pense sincèrement, chat, que ça va être une petite folie. Honnêtement, j'attends que ça. Hein. Je vais faire du Dark and Darker en attendant. Je vais peut-être faire un let's play d'ici PoE2. Genre en plus de Dark... Enfin, après Dark and Darker. Je vais jouer quoi? Il y a encore une semaine de Dark and Darker. Puis après il y a le Market. Ça va être vachement plus sympa. Dark and Darker, ça va être super fun avec le Market. Et après le Market, j'aurais peut-être eu ma dose pendant un petit moment. Je vais aller... On va se faire un petit let's play. Ça va nous occuper quelques jours. Voire une semaine, le temps que PoE arrive. Et puis quand PoE va arriver, quelques jours avant, je vais faire des train leveling comme on fait d'habitude. Donc ça va être sympa. Ça va faire un vogue de 500 heures encore, my dream. Non, mais je pense à ça. Chat, je pense que PoE2, il y a trop à découvrir. Ça va être vraiment, vraiment trop stylé. En tout cas, j'ai hâte. Je sais pas vous, chat, mais moi, je suis hype. Hein. Moi, je suis astro méga hype, chat. Ça va être une folie. Ça va vraiment être une folie. Bon, allez, chat. Sur ce, moi, je vous laisse là. On se retrouve demain. Demain, je relive. Demain, je referai du D&D, on fera du vibing. Vous savez quoi? On fera même du doom scrolling, où on mettra des vidéos sur YouTube ou quoi, en full vibe. Je jouerai sans délai, évidemment, comme aujourd'hui, c'était grave fun.